Hey, folks, that's right. I'm here on a unique situation for me because I hadn't been able to cover a local team's playoff run for a pretty good while. 2019 was the last time I was able to, and I was with my, just with my good friend Max, and but the Texans get their first playoff victory 45-14 against the Cleveland Browns, who came in here a couple of weeks ago and just, basically slapped them around, mistreated them in their own house. But guess what? The Texans came back today and just showed you what they were really thought of. I got a couple of guys with some great credentials. Elwin Henderson, the Gilmore Mirror, and Willie Gibson coming out of Cleveland, which is this ball club. And I'm going to get ready to grab them and put both of them on right now. That add to the stage. Elwin's up there. Mr. Gibson got him down here. There he is.
Hey.
There he is. That's it. All right, guys. Let's get into it. 45-14. Will, you're the guest. Although we are hospitable down here, and I think you can admit that we are a hospitable crowd. But today we could not let the Cleveland Browns come in here and just kick the furniture over without doing a little chastising. So we'll let you go first and give your initial impressions.
The clock struck 12. Number one, first and foremost, credit to Coach DeMeco Ryans and his staff and the Texans rather. They showed up. I mean, they remembered Christmas Eve, and they were intent on not letting Christmas Eve happen again because you didn't hear Amari Cooper's name a lot today. So kudos to that staff for putting together the game plan that they did and implementing it to the level that they did. There's nothing more I can say. I mean, they just put a good old-fashioned behind kicking on the Browns. I mean, point blank period.
Yeah, I needless to say, I felt like this game would be different because you had CJ was here. This wasn't, a different quarterback. I mean, this is the quarterback of the future. This is the quarterback now, and this is the quarterback of the future. And so, needless to say, I did not think that I didn't think that I just think this wasn't Case Keenum. Let me put it like this.
No,
This was not Case Keenum today. Elwin, initial comments after this game today.
Well, as you know, AD, you called me yesterday afternoon. You and I talked a little bit about the game, and I told you I felt confident the Texans would win this game. But like you and I were talking up in the press box, when it turned into a laugher, I thought about 3 or 4 points. In my wildest expectations, I never imagined that they would win by 31 points. And I mentioned to you before we came on, I got a chance to talk with Peter King, that, of course, everybody knows was with Sports Illustrated for 3 decades. And I asked him if he saw this coming, and he said, I felt like Houston had a good chance of winning the game, but as far as this kind of blowout, absolutely not. And he said he was texting Next Gen Stats, and at the time he was texting them, they said of 21 passes C.J. Stroud had thrown, 8 of the passes, the receivers were open by 5 yards or more, and he looked at me and he said, that's high school ball. He said the Cleveland Browns did not look like the number 1 defense, and he said that's because of C.J. Stroud and Bobby Slowak's play calling and the determination and the practice that this team has put in. He said they were totally prepared for this game.
It's something DeMeco Ryans mentioned something, and he said he felt from Tuesday's practice on, he felt like this team was locked in. And he felt very confident. I mean, let's face it, and Will, you know it, man. We done been to more practices. You done covered not only you done covered some outstanding teams. Coaches have they have a different feel about their teams and so forth. But I don't think in his wildest imagination, DeMeco Ryans thought his team was going to perform at this level, at this expectation. I just don't see it.
No, I totally agree.
Well, I mean, obviously you done talked to plenty of coaches in your time. I don't think when the coach tell you his team locked in, okay, you take it for what it is. It's sometimes it's coach speak, and sometimes, but I think even D'Amico was a little bit blown away by the way his team performed today.
I would agree. As you said, from Tuesday on, he felt they were ready. Ready is one thing, but 31-point ready, I agree. I don't know that he saw that. But you said the difference with CJ. Christmas Eve, CJ was on the sideline with a hoodie, and to see him on the field, performing the way that he did, we see now why he is beyond the shadow of a doubt the offensive rookie of the year. 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You saw. He threw a couple passes where I don't remember. I think it was the third quarter where number 19. I apologize. I don't remember his name, but he threw him. It looked like he was trying to throw the ball away, but he threw it straight to number 19. It's like, okay, he knew exactly where he was going with the ball. I think in the first quarter he had a pass to Nico Collins as well. Yeah. And it's that
was Xavier Hutchins. That's another one of those rookies. That was another one of those drafted rookies that's contributing right now, Will.
Yeah. It was early. It was evident early on that, as you said, this is not Case Keenum. CJ is. And I love to, toot our horn here in Columbus. The former Buckeye.
Go ahead and blow, man. Go on, that's okay. Go ahead and blow, man. Because let me tell you something. Here's the thing about it. This young man was sort of down. Everybody sort of questioned his intellect. After somebody released that CS exam and all this other stuff. Yeah. And to me. And that there's certain guys in the media that really just relishes in the fact of questioning somebody's intestinal fortitude, their intellect. And so for him to have this type of success, basically just saying shove it and excuse my expression. But you know what? A red hot poker all the way up, because I'm not asking him the quantum theory of physics. Well, in a way, I am, so long as he can hit a wide receiver on a vector, nice vector and everything. But I'm not asking them to send a rocket to the moon. I'm just asking them to get score touchdowns and have a team that rallies behind him. And apparently, he has enough intellect, and that far as I'm concerned, those guys on this Texans ball club, he has a great deal of respect for that young man out of Columbus, man.
Well, I'll say this. Speaking on his intelligence, number one, CJ is a very, 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 very intelligent young man. Off the field, let alone on the field. And speak to on the field, I think he said this earlier this week. Ryan Day runs a very, very complex pro-style offense here at Ohio State. Very complex, very pro-style. Very pro-centric offense here at Ohio State. And CJ mentioned that he has less responsibility now with the Texans than he did running Ryan Day's offense at Ohio State. So,
wow.
You can't. What's that?
I said, wow.
Yeah. He had
impressive.
Yeah. So, his intelligence level is not to be questioned. And as we saw today, for the world, the nation that maybe hasn't seen a Texans game prior to today, with them being in the national window, the opening game of Wildcard weekend, hopefully they saw and he answered any lingering questions. But that young man is intelligent, without question. His intelligence level should never be questioned before today, and honestly, after today, it shouldn't be questioned at all.
Well,
the thing.
No, go ahead, Elwin.
Well, I was going to say, I know you heard D'Amico say this in his presser, AD. Somebody asked him, said, how did this team do what you have done this season? A rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback, and he said, we are in the position we are in because C.J. Stroud put this team on his shoulders, and he is capable of carrying this team. We are here only because of C.J. Stroud.
High praise. That's all I can say. High praise. That's high praise. And you know what? And Will, I tell you this. I mean, obviously you covered them all through college, and you know, our first year really just sort of getting used to him and everything, and watching him, you know, from injury and everything. He is probably one of the most steadiest kids to be as young, and I'll call it, and he's young. But I'm telling you something, man. I've never seen a kid with such a plum and he stays steady all the time. Maybe nothing. He never gets too far up or too far down. At least I haven't seen it from practice. I mean, when things are going good, bad, and different, CJ just sort of just rocks with it, man. He literally just rocks with it. I mean, whatever, go high, okay, it goes high. He just sort of go like, oh, he just treats it for what it really is. I'm playing football. I'm having fun.
Yep.
And AD.
Go ahead.
What he does is what every single coach from junior high on up through college and the pro says. You can't let a play rattle you. When something goes wrong, you got to forget about it and go to the next play. As you talked earlier, that's coach talk. We hear that all the time. But you won't find many players in anything from junior high to high school up through the NFL that can do that play after play after play. But C.J. Stroud is one of the few that can. He literally does let it go right off his back, and he goes to the next play and forgets the previous play ever happened.
Hey guys, before I forget, let me run my sponsor spot real quick, and then I want to get back to it because I'm trying to figure out. I know when I thought this game got away from the Browns, but I'm curious as to know, Will, from your perspective, when did you think the game, and Elvin, when did you think the game got away from? Let me run this spot, and then I want to come back and get into that particular one.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me.
That's what we do every week.
Let me go back again.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency.
Again, I guess Mr. Ross is so excited. Okay, 281. He's so excited about the game, he's speechless. 281-234-5952. Ken Ross Agency, over 40 years. He's been my agent of choice, and let him be your agent of choice. Give him a call now. And if he doesn't that, just leave him a message and tell him AD called. And just tell him tell him that I told you to call and you got some insurance need, you name it. He can cover the whole gamut with you. And so without further ado, Will, at what point did you think, what is your point when you think this game got away from the Browns?
The second pick six. Up until that point, what I've seen from this team, I thought, they have the capability of coming back. But that second pick six on a fourth down, was trying to get the ball to Harrison Bryant and number 48, Christian
Harris.
Thank you.
Christian Harris. Yeah.
Christian Harris stepped in front of it and took it to the house. That's when I knew. That was it. Prior to that, knowing what I've seen from this team all year, I thought there was some chance that they could make it respectable and get back in it. But that pretty much sealed the deal for me.
Elwin, your point.
All right, this is going to sound really egotistical, guys. But I'll tell you exactly when I said this game is over. Houston is going to win.
Your egotistical, that'll be different from what?
I love it. But I'll tell you when. Maybe, it wasn't over. But when I said the Texans are going to win this game, was the long pass to Dalton Schultz. When that happened, I said this team is not going to let the Cleveland Browns beat them today.
And I'm gonna tell you, it it was not. I thought I saw something different, and I asked Nico Collins about this, and I'm of course it'll be I got it on tape, but I'm not going to show it right now because I want to just dig into this. It was, I think it was a third down, and it was a route that Nico sort of got on one of the seam routes, and I asked him. I mean, considering now, remember against Denver, he had 9 receptions and 191 yards. Okay, he turned around a couple of weeks ago or last week, and he had 9 receptions again, 195 yards of reception. And so the thing about it, I saw and the Browns basically, and I'll acknowledge they got a hell of a secondary. They got a hell of a defense.
Yeah.
But when and several times they roll a safety high over top of him, but they allowed Nico to have I think probably more times than not man coverage, especially on a couple of seam routes, guys. And when I saw him that third quarter on the and it really I think he picked up about 11 or 12 yards, and it was almost like they're gonna. I mean, you normally take away something, and then like the Texans today, they were not gonna let Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was not getting ready to come back and have another 260-something yard day.
No,
I knew that from Jump Street, but it was just something about what they did offensively that they were able, and then allowed him to just make that catch. And I just sort of said to myself, I made a mental note about that particular play. But then and then right after that, then CJ hit Dalton Schultz on that touchdown drive, and I just sort of went like, But again, I was sort of wondering with Bobby Slowick, he was this play calling, plus it's a difference in who was pulling the trigger today. And I think the fact today, and here's something else, guys, that was only no sacks today on CJ.
Yep. I was going to mention that, AD. I think that is the biggest key to the game. Laramie Tunsil kept Myles Garrett totally under control, and Myles Garrett was almost unheard of today, which you never hear.
Say what, Will?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
And to that point, you mentioned the safety. The Browns missed Grant Delpit today. They missed Grant Delpit big time.
Okay.
They had Rodney Harrison in there, the rookie, undrafted free agent. He's done a phenomenal job all year long, especially the last 4 weeks in place of Grant Delpit. But Grant had surgery a month ago. There was hope that he could come off the IR and be ready to play today. He wasn't, but it showed. It showed that you mentioned the safety, and that would have been Grant Delpit. And had Grant Delpit been there, I'm not gonna say they wouldn't have lost. I don't. It clearly was the Texans' night tonight, but he was missed. He absolutely was missed.
The back-to-back interceptions. Steven Nelson's that 81-yard. Now let's give credit where credit is due. Barnett hit Flacco, because Flacco never could get, and Will, I mean you guys saw what I saw. Flacco never could set his feet and deliver. And Flacco had a strong arm, guys. In fact, I talked to his college coach, and he probably said Joe Flacco can probably just can probably get on one knee and probably throw 75 yards just sitting on one knee. And the fact that Flacco, what he had coming into the contest regular season, 5 games, Will, he had thrown 13 touchdowns and maybe through one interceptions or 2 interceptions, and
interceptions total.
8 interceptions total. And but the thing about it, and his average, I would have to go back to Pro Football and statistics, but what he was probably averaging about 20 plus yards on most of those touchdown passes.
Oh, without question.
Yeah. I mean, it was as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, man. Of course, Christmas Eve. I mean, it was like Darryl LaMonica, man. It was like bombs away with him, but particularly him and Amari Cooper. The way they were, just running up and down the field playing catch, man. It was basically embarrassing, and that was the one question I saw to put to Jalen Petrie today, and because he got pulled, they pulled him from the game, because of the way Amari Cooper and them was sort of running down the middle there. But today, he was just saying that. I asked him, I said, did you feel somewhat of a vindication today? And he said, it wasn't so much a vindication from him. He said, we just cleaned up some stuff that we just left on the field. We made some mistakes 2 weeks ago. And he said, we just was able, we know what we can do. And we just was able to clean up some stuff. But the fact of the matter remains, the pressure. Will Anderson, 3 sacks. They had 3 sacks today for sure. But going back, I think they had, I want to say 6 to 9 quarterback hits. And those 6 to 9 quarterback hits were very critical today, particularly on that 81-yard pick, Will, because right. he couldn't step into the ball. Right when he got ready to step in and throw, he got whacked by Barnett. And so, like I said, when I tweeted out, I said, yes, Steven Nelson got, he got 81-yard credit for an 81-yard pick and carry to the house. But if Flacco had been able to just step into that ball, it may not necessarily have been a pick, but that's football. We know how that goes, guys.
He mentioned that post game on that particular play. He knew the spot. He was going. Elijah Moore was to the receiver. He knew the spot Elijah was supposed to be at. So his intent was to get it to that spot. But as you said, coming off the corner, Barnett, he wasn't able to step into the throw and get enough on it to get it out there. So he said, even in hindsight, maybe he should have thrown it in the flat just to live it, or even taking a sack instead of throwing that pick. In hindsight, those are things that he could have done. But yeah, his intent was to get it to that spot to give Elijah Moore a shot, but he wasn't able to put enough on it with the pressure.
No, he could.
Did you guys notice how close, by the way, talking about that pick 6, did you notice how close his knee was to being down when he intercepted the pass? His left knee was no more than 4 or 5 inches from the turf. It was that close to just being an interception.
No, I'll be candid with you. I didn't. I'd have to go back and look at the replay on that one, because it
was very close.
Okay. Like I said, I had to go back and look at the replay on that one. But the second pick and one that you talked about that you thought was a deciding factor on the game, Christian Harris, that 37-yard pass. 2 weeks ago, Christian Harris had an opportunity probably to make a pick, and he probably could have rambled about 98 yards, because and it was a break it was the same break. It was a sort of a same break, Will and Elwin. Yep. And if he could have caught it, and the thing about it, at Alabama, he was a converted safety to a linebacker. And so I sort of asked him about that, last week, just sort of we were talking about that particular play, and he, as he stated, he said, I picked, I saw everything on the film. He said, everything just sort of worked out, and I was just messing with him. I said, okay, so what were we going to see, your linebacker speed, or were you going to see your safety speed on that one? And he said, oh, you just saw the safety speed on me. He said, but this time, like I said, he only had to go 37 yards. But like you said, that was the coup de grace. And Will, you're right, and I think everybody else. After that second defensive pick, that when that touchdown, I think for all intent and purposes, I'm not gonna say the Browns quit. I refuse to say that. But I think the winds got knocked out of these sails after that one, guys. I really do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree.
I think that after that, because Njoku was sort of he was being the Amari Cooper in the first half of the game, Will and Elwin. And David Njoku was the one that was just he was sort of like it was sort of like a blitzkrieg in the Texans secondary, and they made some adjustments right after a couple of series, and all of a sudden, and then after those, particularly after the Christian Harris touchdown, and the Browns receivers balls that you felt like that they were going to catch, and Will, you've seen this team up and down and everywhere. I mean, all of a sudden balls start going through their hands, and you can almost sort of see like, hey, that was it. I think for all intent and purposes, they were just trying to get this game over with, man, and let's get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, David Njoku, I think out of everyone, he's benefited the most from Joe Flacco. I mean, David Njoku from week 11 on has been flat out. He's been along with Amari Cooper, but he's been like 1 and 1A as far as receiving with Joe Flacco at the helm. And with down 38-14, that kind of, I was obviously quite shocked, to be perfectly honest with you, that Joe Flacco remained in the game. And I almost was expecting to see P.J. Walker at that point. But, for reasons known to Kevin Stefanski only, he left him in the game. And I kind of, if I thought about it, I could figure it out. I kind of can tell. I kind of know why now. But, yeah, that I really, really was truly expecting to see P.J. Walker at that point.
Well, I tell you what, I think here's the other news. Everybody was talking about the offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, which very well could be on the field today. But I think if there was any decisions being made about Kevin Stefanski as being the coach of the year or DeMeco Ryans, I think that got settled today, guys. I don't know about you all. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I think that got settled today, Will and Elwin.
DeMeco's got to be coach of the year.
I'd like to hear you guys' thought. I have a thought, but I'd like to hear you guys' thought.
DeMeco has to be coach of the year. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
Mm-hmm. I would say this. Kevin Stefanski played today with his fourth quarterback in a playoff game. Every Wednesday, we would wait to hear from Kevin Stefanski, wondering, okay, who's going to be out today? They had their 5th and 6th tackles playing today. They had two rookie undrafted free agents playing at safety. They had their 4th quarterback. They had a 3rd string running back because their running back went out in week 2. These aren't excuses. These are just injuries.
You stayed in the
facts.
Yeah, you stayed in the facts.
I would venture to say, with all of the injuries that the Browns endured this season, for them to be playing on Wildcard weekend as an 11-win team, I would tend to lean towards Kevin Stefanski as coach of the year from that perspective.
Well, we'll disagree on that one. He did a great job, but DeMeco took over a team that won 3 games last year and turned them into a 10-7 regular season AFC South champion. I don't think anybody can touch what he did in the turnaround.
Understood.
Well, you know what? Hey, man, I like that. Will, I appreciate your argument because you know what? I really do, because here's the deal. The Texans, the starting offensive 5 for the Houston Texans, of the starting 5 that should have been out there, it's only one player has played every snap this year for the Houston Texans. That's Shaq Mason. Shaq was the only one has played every snap on that offensive line. You've been out. Your all-pro tackle has been gone for a couple of weeks. You lost your other tackle who got moved in the guard. You got Juice. Juice was out. He was pulled hamstring. So you went to Jared Patterson from Notre Dame. He went out by the middle of the season, and they on their 3rd center, George Fant, who has realistically, I think he's going to make himself a lot of money this year, regardless of where he stays in Houston or not. Fant has proven he can play either the right tackle or the left tackle, and I think and the fact that Shaq Mason has been the only clear starter from that offensive line that's been there all year. So, and let's face it, we running back, Devin Singletary, because we were we were sitting there, just waiting. We kept been waiting on Petrie, Damon Pierce to break out, and he really hadn't. He sort of retrenched this year. So okay, but Will, I respect the points you made, man. I just think that this organization has been like the laughing pit, and so
yes.
and the fact that D'Amico comes in, and like I said, I just thought out there start today, but I like I said, I respect your points. I just think when the voting come out, it's gonna be interesting to see, guys. Will, I tell you what, that vote might be closer than what we think then, because you definitely made some points for it.
I would say this. What I saw, the Texans won their first playoff game in 4 years today.
Yeah, 2019.
Okay. The Browns have been back since 1999. This is their third playoff appearance since 1999. 3 playoff appearances since 1999. So you said the last feedstock of the pits? No, sir. We don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have time.
That is a valid point, Will. That's valid.
Hey, Will, I'm waving the flag, man. I'm waving the flag.
But we still think D'Amico's the coach of the year.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna tell me that the Cleveland Bay was still on fire, whatever. The whole story about the
Lake Erie. Yeah.
Lake Erie. I thought you were gonna tell me since Lake Erie caught on fire, but we hadn't heard that joke in a while, so I guess I just brought it out real quick. All right, guys. Hey, you know what? It's been fun, man. I appreciate it. Will, you know what? I cannot say thank you enough, man. Like I said, got you for. I know you didn't. You didn't make it down for Christmas, and you know what? You had prayed for good reason. Family. It was Christmas Eve, and you weren't traveling. And you know what? I respect that, man. But as always, man, I appreciate you jumping on. Coming back again, and it's as we move forward. You know what? I'm gonna reach out to you for the rest of the playoffs, depending on whichever way we go, and then definitely gonna reach out to you once we get to Vegas, man, and without a doubt.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Elwin. Final points, man, because I know you motoring down the highway. We still got to get a sponsor. We got to get a sponsor to go for Elwin on the road again, man.
Well, I guess my final thoughts. Very excited for this team. Very excited for C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryans, and the fact that they do always point out their Christian faith, and they're being a tremendous witness to people, and more people are going to see that. Very proud of what they stand for and what they do, and very excited to see who this team takes on next week. As everybody knows, the Texans are the 4 seed. Baltimore is the top seed and had the weekend off, and then you got Buffalo as the 2 seed, and Miami is the 3 seed. Miami, I still believe, going to get beat tonight. I think the Buffalo Bills could lose Monday afternoon when they play, since that game was moved from tomorrow because of the weather, because Pittsburgh is also used to playing in the snow and bad weather. And if both Miami and Buffalo were to lose, then the Texans next weekend would be hosting the Miami Dolphins in RG Stadium. So every Texans fan is going to be glued to their TV sets from now through the end of Monday to find out who, what, when, where, and why.
Well, I'll put it like this. TJ Watt's not playing. So I'm gonna tell you something. That's a big minus.
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely, it's huge.
with TJ not playing, I can see. But you know what? We've seen the Steelers man up before, and so
Yeah, we have.
but you know what? I've been wrong. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. But you know what? We'll see. But like you said, and you and I did talk about that scenario, and I looked at that scenario, and I just said from a wild thought. Darn, the Texans, if the way things work out, I could be back at home watching them play again next week.
Absolutely.
You never know. But we'll find out by the time Monday comes. We'll know for definite, man. Your final point, Will, your final point, man, as I get ready to shut this one down, man.
As always, again, I thank you for the opportunity. The Browns, like I said, for them to be 11-6, and even in the wild card weekend conversation, is kudos to Kevin Stefanski and the staff. Kudos to Andrew Berry and his staff, General Manager Andrew Berry, for week after week finding guys to come in and fill out. Because Wednesdays, on Wednesdays, Kevin Stefanski would talk. You kind of brace yourself like, okay, who's out? Who's out this year? Who's out this week? Who's out this week? And they kept answering the bell. And Joe Flacco. he told a story. He called the New York Jets after Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and they never called him back.
Wow.
He called the Minnesota Vikings after Kirk Cousins got hurt. They never called him back. So he was available when Andrew Berry called him. And he's a folk legend in Cleveland off of 5 games. He's a folk legend in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Gone on to Vegas? Oh, it would have been bananas. So I'm interested to see what this team does in 2024, healthy.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson will be back.
I tell you what. Let me say this about the Cleveland Browns organization. I thought this was a nice move. They set Joe Flacco the last ball game. Well, that was a bonus tied to him, if he'd have played. But the Cleveland Brown organization gave him that bonus. $75,000. Okay.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter that they set him, but they still gave him that bonus. You know what? I tip my hat to the Browns organization. Because not I'm gonna tell you something. Not every organization would do that.
Right. Yep.
Regardless of but this is a multi-billion-dollar league, and these teams are worth multiple billions of dollars. But I thought that was a classy move on the Cleveland Browns' part to go ahead and pay Flacco that bonus, even though they set him, because he had to be playing in order to make the bonus, but they went ahead and paid it. And so, you know what, Will? I tip my hat to you all up there in that organization for going ahead and setting him, but still going ahead and giving his bonus, man. So I appreciate it. I just tip my hat. I thought that was a classy move on the Browns' part. So tip my hat to you on that, guys.
Amen to that.
Yeah, Jimmy Haslam.
Yeah.
D and Jimmy Haslam and the organization, J.W. Johnson, they take care of their players. There's some teams in this league that deduct lunches from players' paychecks, but that's another show for another time. But they definitely take care of their players, and they run a first class organization. So I join you in tipping my hat to them.
All right, guys. Hey, as I get ready to shut it down, close it out. Elwin, be careful on the road. We'll be talking. Will, as always, man, I'm most appreciative, man. Hey, man, you be careful. I'll be in touch with you. I'll be in touch with both of you, man. We'll see you down the road. Whoever the Texans are going to play. Hopefully they might get lucky and I'll be back home. I can stay home again. But if not, we'll see what's going to happen, guys. Anyway, guys, each and every one, thank you, guys. Y'all be careful there, okay?
All right, you as well.
Thank you, AD.
Thank you, sir.
All right, folks, as I get ready to go ahead and slam this thing down, I want to appreciate it. Thank you for each and every one of you. If I hadn't said Happy New Year to you, it's already old. It's January 13th. Weather's getting ready to get supposed to get real nippy and cool here with this Arctic front coming through. Happy MLK Day coming up on Mondays. You know what? Understand the reason for that holiday, folks. and what makes this country unique and what makes it stand out above everything else. For a moment, think about the man and his quest for trying to make America be what it should be, not what it ought to be, but what it should be, and to continue to live up to his credo that all men are created equal. So without further ado, I'm giving you hey, ciao, everything. I'm out. Again, Houston Texans win their first playoff game since 2019 over the Cleveland Browns. Houston Texans 45, the Cleveland Browns 14. Ladies and gentlemen, ciao. I'm out.